I just finished the last video on the top 3 budget brands and realized that I completely forgot about Indio from Monoprice. How could I do that? That's just such a major player at the moment. Also, I didn't mention some of the AliExpress brands. For instance, the Zuway guitars, the Starshine guitars, and there are others as well, Effin guitars. But let's talk about Monoprice really quickly. I would say that the what are they called? Went right out of my head. The Indio guitar line is outside of the top 3. I don't think they're at the same quality level as Harley Benton or IYV or Ert. I just don't think they have quite the same quality. I think they have some interesting guitars. I like that Helix that I set up relatively recently. I thought it was an okay guitar. I don't think it's as good as the 3 brands that I mentioned. Also, I've had 2 or 3 cheap was it California series Tele Strats from Indio, the Monoprice company, and I've had mixed results. Some of them are okay, some of them have been a bit problematic. So I would place them just outside, probably looking in on the top 3 with Grote and others, Donna and others, possibly, but not quite in that top tier. I think they could develop into it. I'm not sure which way they're going. I can't tell if they're going up or down. It seems like their offerings in their electric guitars have gone up, but their acoustic guitars have gone down. They of course, their acoustic line is the Idlewild guitars, and it seems like they're dropping a little bit. They've discontinued a couple of their better models. But in terms of Indio, the electrics, I think they're still outside the top tier. When it comes to Zuway, again, I've had mixed results with them. There have been some interesting guitars. I think they have some issues with distribution, definitely with QC. I put them, in terms of quality, kind of close to the Grote guitars, possibly the Cozart guitars that you used to be able to get on eBay. Definitely outside the top 3, although they have some nice looking guitars. And I believe that they are actually made by the same company that makes the Starshine models, so maybe we should treat those together. Starshine themselves, I haven't had as much experience with. I think I've had 1 Starshine guitar that was mixed. I see they have a few offerings. They seem to be falling away. Perhaps they're moving over to the Zuway brand and phasing out the Starshine. I'm not quite sure what's going on with them. So I definitely think they're out of the running as far as the top brands go. Other brands like Effin guitars that you can get on eBay, I haven't had any experience with. It looks like they do the typical Strat and Tele copies. Nothing too exciting. Same with the Muzu guitar, which is I think they do a Les Paul copy and then a 335 looking guitar as well. I haven't had any experience with those. It's interesting that they look a lot similar in quality to the Grotes. The finishes look very similar, but they're about $100 more. That's probably why I haven't tried any yet. I think the Grote guitars and the IYB guitars are just so much better priced. That's why I haven't tried some of these other brands. The Zuway guitar started out pretty cheap, but I noticed they've shot the prices up. The same with the Muzu guitar as well. It's in the 350, 400 range, and once you get up to that range, you're looking at Yamahas and stuff like that. So or Squire. So for a budget guitar, you really kind of have to stay in the zone. Otherwise, you start competing with a lot better brands with a lot bigger reach, with a lot better QC and all that. So that's the situation there. And there are probably lots of others that I haven't thought about or haven't been thinking about so far either. Trying to rack my brains. Of course, the first one that comes to mind are the Alan Eden guitars, but they're in a bit of a transition phase. I would say they're higher rated than most people give them credit for. I really think that the guitars I recently got from them were pretty decent. The finishes were excellent. They had locking tuners on one of the models. The pickups really sounded quite decent as well. Of course, they still have models available. When you go onto their website, they still have their Les Paul shaped guitars, so they haven't been slapped by Gibson yet. However, they start creeping up towards the 400 or 500 range as well, so it's hard to consider them a rival to companies like Grote once you start getting into that price range. But I would definitely keep an eye on Alan Eden and see what happens, see what they do. They often do blowouts and stuff, and you can pick up some interesting stuff with them, so it's worth keeping an eye on them. And also they distribute I think they sell PRS guitars. I think they distribute other brands. It's just that the Alan Eden guitars are their house brand, kind of like the way Harley Benton is for Thomann. So yeah, there are a few that I forgot to mention in the first go around in this video, so I thought I'd do a quick second one to fill some of those gaps. And I'm sure you're going to tell me, a few more models that I haven't talked about, and it's probably because I just haven't got any of those models yet, and they're sort of on my list. For instance, the Wolf and the all-in-one guitars I haven't had any experience with, and I plan to at some point, and I'll be able to include those in future discussions. I might come back around to the Hard Luck Kings guitars. I want to say Gypsy Kings for some reason. I must have Latin music on the brain. But yeah, so I will include more in this discussion as we get to them. As I talked about in my last video, IYV, Harley Benton for me still top 3. Grote pretty close. Alan Eden sort of also close. Donna great quality, maybe not the same range. So yeah, lots of interesting companies, lots of up and coming brands to talk about, and in 2 months there'll be more. There'll be different ones. So we'll see. I have a guitar possibly coming that's branded CN Blue. It's a very cheap Strat Tele guitar. I can't remember which. That's one of these $100 jobs like the Licks Pro. So I'll look at that and I'll talk about that when I get an example of their work. So yeah, this is an ever-changing thing. People seem to like the information about budget guitars. People thank me all the time for all the models that I review on this channel. I know there are other people doing it as well. So together I think we're creating a good bit of research that makes it a little bit easier to dabble in these worlds. All right, folks, see you on the next video.